The Intouchables, also known as Untouchable in the UK, is a French buddy comedy drama film directed by Olivier Nakache and Eric Toledano. It stars François Cluzet and Omar Sy. 9 weeks after its release in France on 2 November 2011, it became the biggest box office hit in France, just passing the 2008 film Welcome to the Sticks. The film was voted the cultural event of 2011 in France with 52% of votes in a poll by Fnac. Until it was eclipsed in 2014 by Lucy, it was the most viewed French film in the world with 51.5 million tickets sold. The film received several award nominations. In France, the film won the César Award for Best Actor for Sy and garnered 7 further nominations for the César Awards, including the César Award for Best Actor. 5% of the movie's profit were given to Simon de Sirene, an association that helps paralyzed people. Storyline. At night in Paris, Driss, Sy, is driving Philippe's, Cluzet, Maserati quadriplegic at high speed. They are chased through the streets by the police and eventually cornered. Driss claims the quadriplegic Philippe must be urgently driven to the emergency room. Philippe pretends to have a seizure, and the fooled police officers escort them to the hospital. The story of the friendship between the two men is then told as a flashback. Philippe, a wealthy quadriplegic who owns a luxurious hotel particulier, and his assistant Magalie are interviewing candidates to be his live-in caregiver. Driss, a candidate, has no ambitions to get hired. He is just there to get a signature on a document showing he was interviewed and rejected so that he can continue receiving his welfare benefits. He is told to come back the next morning to collect his signed document. The next day, Driss returns and is greeted by Yvonne, Philippe's aide, who tells him that he has been given the job of live-in caregiver on a trial basis. Despite being uninterested in the job and his lack of professional experience, Driss does well in caring for Philippe, even if his methods are sometimes unconventional. Driss learns the extent of Philippe's disability and accompanies Philippe in every moment of his life, assisting him in all the ways needed. A friend of Philippe's reveals Driss's criminal record, which includes 6 months in jail for robbery. Philippe disregards the warnings, stating he does not care about Driss's past because he is the only one that does not treat him with pity. He says he will not fire him as long as he does his job properly. Philippe discloses to Driss that he became disabled following a paragliding accident and that his wife died without bearing children. Gradually, Philippe is led by Driss to put some order in his private life, including being stricter with his adopted daughter Alyssa. Driss discovers modern art, opera, and even takes up painting. For Philippe's birthday, a private concert of classical music is performed in his living room. Philippe takes this opportunity to educate Driss on famous classical pieces, but Driss only recognizes them as advert music or cartoon themes. Feeling that the concert is too boring, Driss plays Earth, Wind and Fire's Boogie Wonderland, resulting in a more lively birthday for Philippe, with the guests also enjoying the music. Driss discovers that Philippe has a purely epistolary relationship with a woman called Eleanor, who lives in Dunkirk. Driss encourages him to meet her, but Philippe fears her reaction when she discovers his disability. Driss convinces Philippe to talk to Eleanor on the phone. Philippe agrees with Driss to send a photo of him in a wheelchair to her, but he hesitates and asks his aide, Yvonne, to send a picture of him as he was before his accident. A date between Eleanor and Philippe is agreed. At the last minute, Philippe is too scared to meet Eleanor and leaves with Yvonne before Eleanor arrives. Philippe then calls Driss and invites him to travel with him in his Dassault Falcon 900 private jet for a paragliding weekend in the Alps. Adama, Driss's younger cousin, who is in trouble with a gang, comes to fetch Driss at Philippe's mansion on the pretext of delivering mail. Overhearing, Philippe recognizes Driss's need to be supportive to his family and releases him from his job, suggesting he may not want to push a wheelchair all his life. Driss returns to his own neighborhood, joins his friends, and manages to help his younger cousin. In the meantime, Philippe has hired caregivers to replace Driss, but he is not happy with any of them. His morale is very low, and he stops taking care of himself. He grows a beard and looks ill. Yvonne becomes worried and calls Driss back. Upon arrival, he decides to drive Philippe in the Maserati, which brings the story back to the initial police chase. After they have eluded the police, Driss takes Philippe to the seaside. Upon shaving and dressing elegantly, Philippe and Driss arrive at a Caberg restaurant on the seafront. Driss suddenly leaves the table and says good luck to Philippe for his lunch date. A few seconds later, Eleanor arrives. Emotionally touched, Philippe looks through the window and sees Driss outside, smiling at him. Driss bids Philippe farewell and walks away as Philip and Eleanor chat and enjoy each other's company. The film ends with shots of Philippe Pazzo di Borgo and Abdul Selu, the people on whom the story is based, together on a hillside, reminiscent of the paragliding scene earlier in the film. The closing caption states how the men remain close friends to this day. Did you know? The movie has become a cult favorite in Canada. In particular, it is played every year at the Windsor International Film Festival since 2012. The sports car Driss is driving for Philippe is a Maserati quadriplegic. The nervousness and slight pacing of Driss in the first scene, where he meets Philippe, was intentional. The director wanted to contrast Driss's mobility to Philippe's immobility. In 2012, Eric Toledano stated that he had received more than 3,000 thank you messages from wheelchair users all over the world. See you later. Thanks for the subscription.